Sandoval, FightHype.com, here with the one and only Teddy Atlas. Teddy, we're on the eve of a big fight. Small breakdown. What do you see tomorrow? What does the outcome of this fight mean for the sport?
What does it mean for the sport? I don't know. Somebody's going to say they're the best, pound for pound, whatever that stuff is. I mean, how long does it last is more important. How long, what are the echoes of it, the vibrations of it throughout the sport? I don't know that I don't know, as good as these guys are, they don't cross over. They're not Pacquiao or Mayweather. So they don't cross over with that power of name where they draw that kind of attention. Really, the insiders are watching this sport. The real boxing aficionados, the real purists. And look, I love them. They're the best people there are. But it's not going to be the echoes from the mountaintops that, Mayweather and Pacquiao could have been. And if it was a good fight. So I look at it, how does it affect the sport? Because the sport's in the doldrums a little bit. Does it pick it up? It's a good, look, ESPN's out here, I'm out here. They sent me out. So it's good. They think it's big enough to cover it. And that's good. And the boxing fans are getting a real fight. A real possible classical fight. That could possibly be a classical fight. Boxer versus puncher. I don't look at Kovalev as the TNT puncher that everyone does. I like him. I like his training. I think he's got one of the best trainers in the business, in John David Jackson, and I like the people with the other guy too. But I think he's been knocking out lower level guys, and he got credit for being this monster puncher. I don't think he's a monster puncher, and I don't think he thinks of himself that way. I think that he thinks of himself more as a boxer. That's more of his temperament, to control range. He's got good height, he's got good reach, good length. I think he's a guy that likes to control range with his feet, with his length, and give you problems that way. Always looking to set up the right hand, don't get me wrong. That is his Sunday punch. You don't need Teddy Atlas to tell you that. But I think that he'll look to control range. I think early on, it'll be a problem for Ward. Ward's been inactive. He might be slipping a little bit. He's 32 years old. But he's definitely been inactive. And I think early on, Ward will have a little trouble negotiating, finding a way to get in without leaving himself available. Dealing with that, as I just described, Kovalev with his feet and with his length. But I think that after 3, 4, 5 rounds maybe of difficulty, he'll start to figure it out. And he'll start to get into the fight the way he needs to. And I think that ultimately Ward will do what he's been doing since he's about 2 years old. I'm exaggerating. He'll win. He'll find a way to win. Ward hasn't lost since he's about 12 years old, and he knows how to win. And a lot of that is connected to a lot of things: his pride, his great confidence, and his abilities, and his intellect too, which is part of his abilities. I think that I'll tell you a funny analogy that I'm going to make, or a funny comparison of a possible fight. And people will probably say, where are you coming with this one? And I'm not saying it's going to be that kind of sensational fight, or that it's got that build-up. It doesn't. But the first Hearns-Leonard fight, yeah. And I'll tell you, because
I want to hear this one.
Because in that fight, Hearns was the bigger guy. They were both welterweights, I know. But Hearns was the much bigger guy, taller, longer, like Kovalev. Kovalev's the bigger guy. He's a natural light heavyweight. Ward's moving up from super middleweight. And in that fight, there's different ways to use your size. You can use it on the outside, or you could use it by going forward and saying, I'm going to use my bulk, my strength, my power, and I'm going to close the distance on you and use my size that way. That's how Hearns used his size early in that fight. I would have thought maybe you want to use it on the outside all night long. Control the outside, make Leonard take the chances, make him take the gambles, make him walk into the lion's den. But he didn't. he went forward. It felt like he was the puncher, and he went forward and pressed the fight, and he was winning. Kind of like Kovalev. I think Kovalev, with his size, even though he likes to control range, I think that, you know, he also will think of himself as the bigger guy, kind of like Hearns did. And he'll forget that maybe he should box. And he'll think of himself as the bigger guy, the puncher, because all you guys are saying he's the puncher, and fighters hear that. And so he won't use his height maybe quite as much, just like Tommy Hearns didn't use it. And he'll use it a little bit, but he'll start pressing, pushing, being a boss, coming behind that left hand, kind of like Hearns. See, don't it look like Hearns? And he'll be and looking to land that right hand, just like he was doing with Leonard. And I think he'll be trying to do that. And he'll be winning the fight. And then all of a sudden, what happened in the Hearns-Leonard fight? Hearns was winning. All of a sudden, Leonard caught him with a counter, hurt him, changed the whole fight around, reversed it, flipped the script. All of a sudden now, Hearns was boxing the way maybe he should have at the beginning. He started boxing, using his reach, staying on the outside, you know, trying to catch him coming in, trying to make sure he couldn't get close to him, you know, surviving a little bit early when he got hurt. But then he got into a rhythm that maybe he should have started with. He got into a rhythm once he survived Leonard hurting him, because Leonard caught him with a counter. Then Leonard started pressing. Leonard started chasing him. You know, the cat became the dog. You know, the mouse became the dog. And he started chasing him, and then, you know, all of a sudden Hearns got into a rhythm of boxing, and Hearns went back to winning rounds. And he was actually, if I remember correctly, he was ahead in the fight going into the late rounds, and then Leonard hurt him again, and wound up stopping him in a great fight, a historic fight, late in the fight. But I can see some similarities here. The only difference, big difference, is Ward's not a puncher like Leonard. People didn't realize how good a puncher Leonard was. I don't think Tommy realized, you know, how good a puncher and how great a fighter he was. But so I can see similarities. I can see. Can you see why I'm thinking that way now a little bit?
Yeah.
I can see Kovalev pressing the issue, bigger guy. Boom, always looking for that right hand, and then maybe midway through, Ward catching with a counter, changing Kovalev's mindset and forcing Kovalev maybe to go back outside, and now all of a sudden Ward becomes the pursuer, just like Leonard did. You know, and again, the only difference is, again, Ward doesn't have the firepower Leonard had, but I could see that. Most of the fights that Ward has won, as much as we give him credit for being a boxer and such a great boxer, and he is versatile, he is solid in so many ways. But if you think back of most of the fights that he's won, most of them, he's gone to the guy. If you think about it, when he won that tournament, most of the guys, he wound up going to them. The only one was the guy from England. What was his name?
Frotch?
Yeah, Frotch, the real physical guy. He boxed him a little bit more. You know, but when he had to go to him, he did. But he boxed him at the end. He boxed. But everyone else, throughout his career, you know, he's thought of as a boxer, and he's solid with his skills. Don't get me wrong, he's got a good, solid package. But think about it. Most of the time, Andre winds up knocking on the door, coming to get you a little bit. The smart way, responsibly, not stupid, but that's what he does. So I kind of see the fight going that way a little bit. And at the end, Ward, like I said earlier, doing what he does, he finds a way to win, and that's a talent. It's a talent, because it's connected to other things. It's connected to versatility, it's connected to intellect, it's connected to ability, adjustability. But most of all, it's connected to confidence. I remember my mentor, who I think was the greatest boxing mind of all time, I'm a little biased, Customano, and he said that very few fighters have what he calls supreme confidence. He said he only saw two fighters that ever had it: Sugar Ray Robinson and Muhammad Ali. And I see a little bit of that in Andre Ward, that supreme confidence. That I saw it on the stage today at the weigh-in, that when the moment comes, he believes he's going to win. I mean, that there's nobody, there's no way he's going to lose. You know, everyone has confidence if they're at a certain level, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But we're talking about supreme confidence, where you really, really, really don't believe you can lose.